and welcome to this ET Now special. I'm Nayanthara Rai. This week we've traveled to Thane in Mumbai to this 32-acre real estate project started by Piramal Realty. I'm here to interview the 32-year-old Anand Piramal. He's the son of Ajay Piramal and Dr. Swati Piramal. Is he as dynamic as his parents? Let's find out. Hi Anand, welcome to ET Now. Thank you for giving the time out. We're at one of your sites, your real estate sites in Thane in Mumbai. I want to begin by asking you, you could have entered any business. Why real estate?
You know, if you think as an industry, for most people, real estate is their single largest and most important investment. And as an industry, we're really building something so meaningful and directly impacts lives in such a significant way. In addition, although it is a high risk business, it is also a high return business. So our group motto is doing well, doing good, which means in any business that you do, that you have to make money and you have to make a difference. And this scores highly on both accounts.
You said you want to make a difference, but your group is also in healthcare. You could have done healthcare as well. That's why I wanted to ask you, what did you like about real estate?
I think that it's just the impact that you can have on people. For most people, a house is everything. If you see in our culture, we do a puja every time we buy a house, and so many traditions are around a house. So I feel excited to be part of an industry in spite of everything that you hear, something that directly impacts people.
Are you scared now that there is now, a leaning towards renting versus buying? We are now, in an era we are entering where people prefer to be asset light. Property prices have really gone up. I'll get to demonetization later, but it become unaffordable to own a house. So is that something you're grappling with?
You know, I think that for most people, real estate is so significant and it impacts quality of life in such a direct way that I believe that for quality projects there'll always be a premium. So I feel that customers will go out of their way to buy real estate, and that feeling of khud ka ghar is still a very important part of the psyche of the Indian consumer. So I feel there will be a rental market, but residential market will continue to be.
But could you look at perhaps coming out with some business ideas to address the rental market? Is that something you look at?
Right now we haven't. We're doing commercial. About 30% of our portfolio is commercial. So we do lease assets there, but we're not looking today. The finished market is, there's quite a lot of supply anyway. So we're not looking at the rental market that much.
So 30% of your portfolio is commercial. Now we had seen a very strong bounce back in the commercial real estate market. Is that still continuing, or things changed since demonetization?
I feel the commercial market is not impacted at all with demonetization, and I feel that it is definitely on the upturn. What's also interesting, because residential prices have fallen, commercial now when you buy a plot of land, you're more likely to look at them more as an even footing. Early on, residential was just so much better, so much richer in return sense than commercial. But today I think both are at par, and I feel pretty optimistic.
Are you seeing things change though in inquiries since demonetization? I'm sure foreign companies are reworking their plans, domestic companies are reworking their plans.
I think in the commercial space there's been no impact. A lot of inquiries that we've got, the velocity is the same after demonetization and before. I feel in the residential market there is a little bit of softness. Customers are still on the fence, but I feel that it's only a short-term pinch. For developers like us, which are reputed, which look at no cash when we accept bookings, for us there's very, very little impact. But for other smaller developers, a combination of demonetization and RERA is squeezing them more. For us, a big benefit is that after a long time, land prices are much more rational now. And it's a good opportunity to look at assets.
And this is going to be the separation of the men from the boys, I guess, because now is the time to expand with land prices falling.
Yeah, I think that there will be certainly consolidation in the sector. And after a very long time, now developers who are holding on to land parcels. Banks now are much more powerful and they're squeezing them further. And we may get, I think we will get land at good prices now.
You said there is softness in the market. Isn't that very polite and diplomatic? Isn't it more of absolutely no sales happening? Like, I'm from North India and there are no sales happening there.
For professional people and for those that are dealing in white, I don't see that there to be any significant change. I feel customers though feel that because some developers will be stretched, they may drop prices. But I don't think that good developers will drop prices too much. And after 3-4 months, I think the interest in the sector will be reignited again.
So you're not going to cut prices from what you're telling me, if I read between the lines.
Yeah, I think that we want to invest in quality and not compromise in quality of our projects. And quality does come at a cost. So I think that we won't be overpriced.
Okay. But you're not scared that if you don't cut prices, if you don't follow that, you're going to lose out? Because people income have been impacted, right? They have less to spend now.
Yeah. I think that one, for quality real estate, there's always a demand. Also for developers like us with strong balance sheets, we can ride waves very easily. So it's not that we need to, we're never in any desperate situation to sell.
This will also provide you at the group level a fantastic opportunity to buy out distressed assets because of demonetization. Is that something you're looking at?
Absolutely. I think that there's a good opportunity to look at very attractive land parcels. Deals that we were offering for land maybe a year ago, you could get that same land parcel at 10-15% less than before. So I feel that demonetization and RERA and the crunch today for other developers will benefit people like us who want to invest and are looking at places to invest capital.
But what about, full ready-made assets that, developers have not been able to sell? Those are distressed assets you could perhaps look at, no?
My father sometimes when he describes our group says we want to be like a nimble gorilla, which is looking at the right opportunities and entrepreneurial enough to spot the right opportunity and double down when required. So I think that we are always, as a group and even as a business, thinking of what's new, is there something that we are missing, and is there more we can do to deliver more returns for our shareholders.
Like your dad, you know how to say it without actually saying it. So the sense I'm getting is that you are looking at opportunities, provided the pricing is obviously right, and how you can maybe double your returns. Your father is, of course, one of the most maverick investors in the country. Does that ever add pressure to you?
It's a nice benchmark to have, and every generation has to do better and better. So it's nice to have a high benchmark, and we're doing everything that we can.
So that's pressure then, right? If you want to be better than Ajay Piramal?
I think it's good pressure, right? It's Virat Kohli, who scored a double century today, has to do better than Sachin. So every generation wants to build on the legacy that they have inherited.
Welcome back to this ET Now special. I'm Nayan Rai. Today I am in conversation with the 32-year-old Anand Piramal, the son of Ajay and Swati Piramal. We're finding out why he decided to enter the real estate business. Anand, we're in very interesting times. I think nobody knows what's going to happen post demonetization. But what everyone's unanimous about is that the finance minister must cut tax rates.
I think that the tax cut will certainly help the sector. It is going through a tough time. And if you look at real estate as an industry relative to in other parts of the world, it's still going through a very, very difficult phase, and as a proportion of GDP, it's still less than if it were in other parts of the world. So I feel that a tax break will give or a tax cut rather, will give a good boost to our sector.
So that'll be on the personal income tax I was talking about. But do you think it's time that the government announce certain softs for the home buyer as well, beyond just maybe an interest subvention?
I think so. I think that for most people to make real estate affordable will have an important social social externality to people, and I really hope that the government sees this as it does infrastructure and many other key sectors to the health of the economy.
You know, when we were all growing up, everyone's retirement plan was what? That I'm going to have a house and I'm going to put it on rent and then I'm going to live off that rent. But since Lehman Brothers, I think that retirement plan has not worked out the way people had thought so. Do you think those days are behind us?
I think that, maybe I was too young then to remember what those days were, but I feel that the interest in the real estate sector still this year relative to the last few years has increased. Big fear in customers' mind is that will I get the project, will it be in the quality?
Deficit.
That's a big issue. I think that's why good developers with a track record and a good reputation of integrity will certainly have an advantage. As Piramal, we also provide a Piramal assurance, which is between the time that you buy the flat and possession. We say that we will buy back your unit 5% less than the market value if you want to, if you're unhappy with the progress of the project or you wish to exit for any reason.
So is this your
No
idea? Is it like one of the first to happen in India?
So we have
You have a guaranteed scheme normally in commercial real estate.
We have one of our board members is Nitin Noria, the Dean of Harvard Business School, and he had done a lot of research of these service guarantees in the West. And Hyundai did it very, very successfully, but it's only done in different sectors. So I think we're the first company that is doing this anywhere in the world. And a lot of the insight came from his research in the US.
So this is for all your projects?
This is for all of our residential projects.
Anand, how many projects are you overseeing at the moment? How many do you have?
Today we have 6 projects, 2 in Worli Seaface, 1 in Kurla, 1 in Mulund, 1 in Thane and 1 in Baikala. As a company, our strategy is to be a Bombay-based company and to do few large projects so that we can control execution, and we really want to under-promise and over-deliver to our customers.
So no plans of foraying out of to any other city?
You know, my view of real estate is that it's a local game. If you look at
even Thane and Worli Seaface so different.
Absolutely. So if you look at even whether it's Salman Kai or Emaar in Dubai, 80-90% of their wealth is really in one city. And real estate is a business, so our strategy is that if you can drive to it, only then build it. Don't take an airplane, don't take any other means of transport. So all of our projects are about 1 hour from the head office, and we feel that if our children are close to us, it's far easier to monitor them.
And how is life going to change post GST?
I feel that if you think real estate, there are about 250 sectors like steel and cement that are related to real estate. Having said that, so I think it will positively affect us, but it will be a marginal contribution to our margin.
Okay, you mean marginal contribution in a positive way?
In a positive way.
Now, while we're waiting for the real estate regulator to be rolled out in the various states across the country, you as a Bombay player, how do you stand to be impacted?
I think, look, for instance, we launch our projects only after approvals. All of our projects are reasonably well capitalized. So I feel that it will, what we were going to do anyway, now it is in the regulation. So it will be a much more level playing field between us and developers. Also, if you look at demonetization with the cash crunch in the system, that will also be a much more level playing field, and in procuring approvals and things, we will be, we will not have a disadvantage that's significant anymore.
You know, in the north, DLF is trying to change the whole system by saying that we're only going to sell projects once the building is ready, like, the shell structure. Do you think that's something that you could ever look at?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in that very much, our strategy may not be when the building is completely finished, but I think at least when the building is a little bit up is when we will do more aggressive marketing and
Has
advertising.
it started happening? Do you think this is something that is inevitable and this is what the bigger companies will do?
In Bombay, maybe because land prices are high and we are in the market to look for land. Therefore, we have two wonderful investors, Goldman Sachs and Warburg Pincus. We want to rotate our capital as well. So I think that for other developers who are in greater cash crunch situations, they will have no choice but to sell a lot of their projects early on. So for us, I think it'll be a balance between what you're saying and between what many other developers do. I think that we will have a even sales across the life cycle of our project.
How are you going to provide exits to Goldman Sachs and Warburg Pincus? What's the plan?
As a group, we always want to. We've worked with APG, we've worked with Warburg, Goldman Sachs, CPPIB, and it's very, very important for us to give a return to our investors. Today, we have no plans for an IPO, but we are still committed. We'll explore. If you think about Goldman Sachs, it's their balance sheet money. So it's a long-term play. They're not looking at real estate as a 3 to 4 year or cycle, but a longer-term play. So when the time is right, we'll explore what the best option for an exit for them is.
I'm guessing it'll be the IPO. That's what I was getting at, right?
We have no plans of an IPO. Neither are we required by legal agreements to do an IPO. So we'll see. 3-4 years is a long time in the history of our young dynamic country. So a lot can change, and we'll explore what to do at the right time then.
And are you in the market to raise more funds?
Not actively. We have good, good support from these two investors. At a project level, if there is a right investor that wishes to partner with us, that's strategic, we are always open in that sense.
Don't take it the wrong way, Anand, but you're pretty young. And when you have to go out and negotiate with the big boys like Goldman Sachs, Warburg Pincus, is it you who does it, or do you also go back to your parents and they, rely on them? How does it work?
This is a company in 2012. I started after business school. It came out of a business school summer project. So that way we, have a lot of freedom, and it's we don't share a single common employee with the rest of the group. So that way it's quite independent.
So what you're saying, it's your baby and it's only your baby?
It's a team effort. I think I have a very good team, and we have people. Our head of marketing, who has done this wonderful experience center, is the former chief marketing officer in Emaar. We have head of construction is Australian. So we have really the best minds from around the world.
Has it ever happened at dinner table you maybe exchange an idea with your parents and they don't like it? Is that then you like, damn, am I making a mistake?
If I were to be honest, my parents care more about my marriage plans than any business in that sense. They give me much more freedom on that side.
So you haven't bitten the bug as yet? They're not letting you get you under pressure?
I want to, still succeed in our real estate business first, and I think we're on the way, but there are a few things that I really want to finish in our real estate business.
So Anand, we're in Thane. You have a 35-acre project over here. You also oversee a fund. How do you divide your time?
I lead the development business. The fund, we have a separate management looking at that very actively. So my 110% of my time is in this business.
So you're not involved with the fund at all, but there are synergies that you could develop with the fund, right? Is that something you're looking at?
So my focus is really on this business. I learn a lot from our fund. And so I sit on one of the credit committees. So I see it as a good learning opportunity for me.
You said you've inherited your dad, Ajay Piramal's belief on doubling down on investments and, maximizing all of that. How much have you invested in your real estate company, and have you started seeing the fruits of that yet?
So Warburg Pincus and Goldman Sachs invested around $434 million last in 2015 in our business. So we have enough of capital to be able to look at land. Historically, I feel that prices were not correcting as much as we thought it was. But I feel now really developers are feeling the pinch, and we have a good opportunity to buy lands and to double down.
So when you have talked about land prices coming down, correcting, becoming more realistic, are you going to pass on that benefit to the consumers?
Absolutely. I think that we we are a customer-centric company, and everything that we do is around the customer. So we obviously have to be fiscally disciplined. But I think that if you look at the quality of our projects in the micro markets we're doing the more for the customer, I think, than any other developer.
Have you started getting inquiries to buy out distressed guys?
Absolutely, we get it all the time, and we, as a group, we are known to be a group that creates shareholder value and to be fiscally disciplined. So we want to choose the right assets at the right time, and even if they're not available, then we'd rather sit tight. It's not that we have a gun on our head to invest. When the time and the price is right, that's when we want to jump in very quickly.
Tell me a little bit of the kind of trends that you're seeing in the real estate market. Earlier we'd seen perhaps the specs come down, etc. Are you still seeing some interesting trends?
I feel, for instance, in Piramal, we've done a lot to build the project around trees. I feel that for customers today, they're saying that, look, marble, when I have more money, I can always replace, but I can never replace a tree. So I feel that developers that have greenery in their projects, that surround themselves with nature, will do very, very well. I think in our particular micro market projects, which have light, space, ventilation, we do a lot to build our projects with high quality facades, with full floor to ceiling glass, to try to keep our living rooms cross ventilated. So
And you have flower shows?
Absolutely. So I feel also that print advertising is taking a beating. It's becoming much more commoditized. But to to market projects in a subtle way, that where customers can experience what we're trying to do as a company, has a bigger impact.
Okay, as we come to the end of this interview, I also wanted to ask you that you come from a group with lots of other interests, whether it's financial, healthcare, pharmaceuticals. None of that interests you at the moment?
I think everything interests me in that sense, and it's a great platform, and all the
Because you're going to be in
sectors.
charge of it all one day, right?
Yeah, my focus right now is to deliver, to build a great company which has happy customers, buildings that reflect the highest standards of design quality, as good as anything in the world, and to give my two investors, Warburg Pincus and Goldman Sachs, a good return, because they've backed us, and their investment and trust means a lot to us.
I always ask the young entrepreneurs that I interview, who's your role model? Is it your dad or is it someone outside the family?
Certainly my father is a role model. In business, I think Mr. Tata is a very good role model, somebody who's created a business as well as made, done it in an ethical way, as well as the group is so much about social contribution and impact.
Cyrus Mistry is not a role model. I'm being cheeky.
I'm not the right person to comment on that, but as a group, it's so much of it is owned by public and philanthropy, and it's a good role model for us to have.
I'm being cheeky as well because your father's on the board of Tata Sons. That's why I was asking and made that Cyrus Mistry joke.
It's nice to also mention that the project that we're doing is built by Shapurji Palanji.
Okay.
They are the contractors for our project.
So nothing changes for you. You'll have good relations with the Ratan
Absolutely.
Tata camp and the Cyrus Mistry camp.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
that's great to know. That's also pretty cool that you're being diplomatic with everyone and keeping good relations with everyone.
Yeah.
And with that, Anand Piramal, thank you so much for taking the time out and talking to us here on ET Now. Thank you.
Thanks, I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.